Well, hello and welcome. My name is Kubeir. Welcome to the channel. This channel is all about Canadian immigration news, updates, things you should do, things you definitely should not. And I am back with, it's obviously not a breaking news anymore. The reason why you're all here on this live stream with me is to discuss what's happening with the Express Entry draw. Yet again, a very, very disappointing draw again. The first one, which happened after a very long wait of nearly 1.5 years, 18 months, was about 2 weeks back on the 6th of July, as promised. And that wasn't really, a cracker that we expected. 1,500 ITAs, 557 of the score there. And all of us were actually anticipating that there would be a better draw this time, because Sean Fraser himself mentioned that this would be a gradual draw. They would be conducting the draws gradually. Now, for the first time in my life, I'm beginning to realize the weight of this word gradually. I think it's going to haunt me for a very, very long time, because I'm beginning to see the new meaning of it already. I'm actually seeing the real meaning of this word. So gradually, they have conducted another draw today. And the 20th of July, the Express Entry draw that was conducted was, let's see this here. Okay, yes. 20th of July, draw number 227. The draw that was no program specified, which basically means it was an all program draw. The total number of invitations issued was only 1,750, and the total score for this draw is at a very high 542. Really, really high there. As I said, we were really hoping that this would have at least some relief for people there, because so many of you are anticipating the scores to come down, so that, so many of you have been waiting to get a crack at the Canadian immigration would finally be able to do it. However, it hasn't really happened. And we are beginning to now see where this might be actually heading. If they really meant gradual, then they are actually going by that word, gradual. But what could be influencing this? Well, we understood the backlogs. We understood the balance between the backlog that they needed to maintain. The latest numbers for the backlogs have also come in. We will be discussing more about the backlogs during our Saturday weekly roundup. But just to give you a brief hint, so the number of people who are still in the backlog for the federal high skill, which is the Express Entry, so your Canadian experience class and your federal skilled workers, is roughly about 23,000 people. Only 23,000 people at this point of time, which has been also gradually reducing with the backlogs. So with only 23,000 people, I would have expected that they would now at least give the number a bump, but not to be. So we have this draw at, as I said, CRS score of 542 and total number of invitations at 1,750. Let's take a look at the pool breakdown here, because that is the more interesting bit. So CRS score distributions as of 18th of July. So 2 days back, this is the score distribution here. And here, between 601 to 1,200, you have 580 profiles, which are basically people who have received nominations in their Express Entry pool, people who have received the 600 points in their Express Entry pool because they've received the nominations. So we've already discussed that before, earlier, that you will always have certain number of people who would have received nominations, and in each draw we can expect anywhere between 600 to 800 people. This time slightly less, 580 people there, but the number between 501 and 600 has shot up to 9,101. That's a big, big number. Now, I'm not sure how many of you remember the last pool breakdown as of the 6th of July. The total number of people were 8,777, something of that sort. So after you reduce the number of people who would have received the invitation in the last draw, because mind you, 1,500 people got an invitation, roughly 700 people were there from the PNP, so the remaining roughly, I'm saying about 800 people received invitations within the range of 501 to 600. Now all these people, if you remove that 800, that basically meant that the total number was roughly 8,000. That was the number of people remaining in the pool in that segment between 501 and 600. But this time, within the last 2 weeks, 1,100 people got added into the pool. Now, what has happened is, because of this draw of 1,750, if I remove 580 from the PNPs and the remaining from this 501 to 600 segment, the number of people in the pool are still almost the same number that was on the 6th of July, which basically means this draw hasn't made any dent on reducing these numbers who are waiting. Very scary. I mean, the pool breakdown is really very scary. I mean, who would have thought that you would have had 9,000 people above the score of 501, and even after the 2 consecutive draws that we have had now, this number hasn't moved. Also, you have to see 491 to 500 has gone up to 5,091. That's again a big jump. And 481 to 490 has also gone up to 8,857. So if I add up these numbers, the 9,000, 5,000, that's about 14,000, and then 8,857, 14 and 8, about 22, and some other number there, so about 23,000, roughly 23,000 people sitting with a score of 481 and above. If IRCC sticks to this gradual draw that they are talking about, the scores are looking pretty scary. And I'm not going to sort of give you any false hopes and tell you, don't worry, 480s will happen in 2 draws, 470s are going to happen in 3 draws. I'm not going to be doing it. I made a fool out of myself by saying that earlier, because that was the speculation, that was the hope, and that was the expectation. But IRCC has turned this whole thing around on its head. And right now we are just, looking like, I would say I'm looking like a total fool with these numbers and the speculations that we have sort of made earlier. However, as we move forward, a couple of things. IRCC has been considering what they're going to do with the Afghanistan issue. IRCC has been considering what they're going to do with the Ukraine issue, because they have been calling people to come to Canada on work permits. They haven't promised them, or they haven't made any announcements of giving them permanent residence. We also know that IRCC is planning another permanent program for international students and foreign workers in Canada, who would then go on to become, or rather to give them a pathway for permanent residence. So they are planning these different things. They haven't come to any specific announcements to be made. So in my opinion, and some of the other people who we've been discussing this with, they feel that until IRCC has come to some solid understanding of which way do they want to go forward with, as to where, or rather how many people would they want to invite, if at all, for permanent residence for the Ukrainians, or are they going to bring in more people for Afghanistan? Are they what have they decided for this new program for the international students and foreign workers? What are the frameworks looking like? What will be they doing about that? Until they put some more concrete numbers there, because they will have to adjust these numbers against this year's quotas. There is no place there. Or even if they move forward to the 2023 quotas, they would have to adjust those numbers also against those quotas, because they haven't been able to sort of make any concrete decision there yet. Because obviously, I mean, even if they have made the decision, we won't know until much later. But at this point of time, those are the speculations that I am hearing, and that's what's coming through. And that is one of the reasons why they are treading very slowly with these numbers at this point of time. Next Tuesday, I think, let me just pick up the date there. Next Tuesday is 26th of July. Now, what do I have on 26th of July? I'm not sure how many of you remember, my very good friend, immigration lawyer Stephen Murans, was with me live earlier this year in the month of January. And he was the first one who came out and said very clearly that he doesn't expect any draws for several months. And lo and behold, all that came true. I will have on this channel again Stephen Murans live on the 26th of July, Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And once again, we're going to ask him, quiz him, talk to him, and try and understand what he thinks, or what he is speculating, or what he is understanding with regards to what the draws are looking like, what the express entry pool breakdowns are looking like, and which way this is going to turn. So if you are sort of keeping an eye on it, 26th of July, Tuesday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, don't forget to sort of tune in and we will have that crackerjacker of a discussion on that particular day. But meanwhile, again, coming with this pool breakdown, yes, it's looking scary. It's an express entry draw. We were hoping for better numbers, better scores, so that a lot of people who have been waiting anxiously could get some relief there. Nothing happening there. Yes, one small piece of relief that has again been a bit of an anxiety driven, and that is about Bill C-19. Now we all know Bill C-19 has been approved. It hasn't been implemented. So a spokesperson from IRCC had a discussion with CIC News and has indicated that they are thinking about implementing the Bill C-19 category-based draws probably by the first quarter of 2023, which basically gives us, give or take, almost 8 to 9 months. So this is the time period that we have in order to understand that IRCC will continue to conduct these draws in the regular manner, or at least in the manner that we have come to use to it. There are a lot of people who are expecting or anticipating CEC specific draws. I know a lot of you are worried. Maybe not at this point of time. I don't think there would be a CEC specific draw because there's so much of pressure on the express entry pool for the all program. They have to clear this 500 plus numbers, right? There are 9,000 people there. Each 2 weeks, as I've said earlier, also the express entry pool is dynamic. So each 2 weeks, you would have more people who will get added to the pool. They need to clear these numbers. And if they have to clear these numbers, they need to increase the number of invitations so that these numbers can be drawn quickly. I mean, if it was a 5,000 per draw, per ITAs per draw kind of a thing, we would have come down to below 500 within 2 draws itself. But that is not looking like how it's going to move. If they're going to go gradual increase of only 250 ITAs per draw, then this is going to take some time before they come to a number where we can see the scores coming below 500. At this point of time, in my opinion, I think, yes, they would obviously go gradually, but I'm sort of pegging more at towards a 2,250 or even 2,500 kind of a draw as we move forward. With that, obviously, as you can see, there is huge number of people in the pool above 500. So you're looking at a score of roughly in the 420s as we move forward. 520s as we move forward. And with 520s and ITAs of about 2,500, give or take a few, that is what we will be looking at as we move forward. And then from there on, again, it's all speculation, of course, at this point of time, but we'll have to wait and see which way they go. Now, I know so many of you have been waiting for the Ontario to conduct the draw. Honestly, I don't have any news at this point of time. I wish I could tell you what's happening with the human capital priorities draw. I don't know. Haven't been able to get anything from Ontario on that aspect. They did get their small increase or small bump in their quotas. Nothing else happened from their side. There was recently the conference of all the premiers of all the provinces, and one of the biggest talks was about getting a bigger bandwidth or increasing the bandwidth of the PNP programs. They have been discussing with federal, and there is a possibility that some provinces may still yet get another bump in the quotation in their nomination quotas. So some fingers crossed for that. Also, the provinces are also more keen towards the international students because that is one segment which is taking a big hit. Because mind you, there are nearly 600,000 international students in Canada. With so many people in Canada who obviously would be looking at some pathway for, large number of them would be looking for some pathway towards permanent residence. These draws are obviously going to remain high for quite some time. Now, there is another one, which is the work permit extension. Again, in spite of Sean Fraser promising that in few weeks, or few coming weeks, they would be making that announcement. It has not yet been announced. There is no further update as to when we will hear from them, when we will get more information. Trust me, when I get it, I will share it with you. That's basically all that I had to add for today's update about this express entry draw. As I said, very disappointing draw, but it's a draw, and at least some hope there that they will continue with the all program draw, hopefully bi-weekly as well. Just to recap, today's draw was on the 20th of July, score of 542 with only 1,750 invitations issued. I know there are some questions here, but do join me on Saturday when we do a weekly roundup. That's when we will take most of your questions and give you at least some answers, some insights, at least with my opinion, my analysis. At this point of time, I have nothing much to add. And so, yeah, I wish you a good night, because it's pretty late here today. It's almost getting to the midnight. If you're not following us on Instagram, please do. If you wish to make an appointment, then that's the link. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We would like to see those numbers going up. Thank you very much for joining in, and I shall see you next time. Take care. Good night.